delivered by our dear friend and brother. Yeah, our dear friend and brother Adonis Delis. I hope
TELLA-DELIS.
TELLA-DELIS.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you very much. So, straight to the heart of the matter, Mr. President. So, I have an introduction of 101 pages.
Yeah,
So
that's serious.
it will be a conference on its own. So bear with me, guys. No, honestly, he has a huge and massive CV, but he asked me to just summarize. So I will try my best. So Mr. Adonis TELLA-DELIS is born on a 22nd of September, and he's PHF plus 4 between Rotarians. No need to explain what's PHF and plus 4. And he's a young, dynamic, and visionary leader with the required skills to manage complex and cultural sensitive organizations. He's a leadership consultant and translator, interpreter, French, English, Spanish. I told you, AG and Maria Cardos also told you, we have more people who speak more than 10 languages. He's the executive director of the consulting firm BrainLink Africa since July 2007. And his responsibilities in Rotary responsibilities, he has various Rotary responsibilities. He's the charter member and vice president, youth service committee of the Rotary Club of Cotonou Plage. I hope you won't hold a grudge against me if I say plage instead of plage.
Sure, plage makes sense. Make more sense. Let's pronounce the original name. It makes more sense. It makes more sense.
Exactly.
Plage is correct. Plage.
He's been nice. He's been the chairman of youth service committee of Rotary Club Plage, and he was the member of Rotary Foundation Committee of Rotary Club Cotonou Situ. He is the charter president of Rotary Club Locomotive Ganhi in Benin, and he's been the vice president of the same club and chairman and also chairman public image committee of the same club, Rotary Cotonou Locomotive Ganhi. He's been a sergeant at arms, deputy trainer, and chairman training committee, member and sergeant at arms of National Training Committee Rotary Benin. It means all Rotary clubs in Benin. And he's been the bilingual secretary of National Polio Plus Committee of Benin, member of National Membership of Extension Committee Rotary Benin, and chairman District 9102 Youth Service Committee. He's been vice president for Rotary District 9102 of Francophone Rotary Leadership Institute since he still is since November 2021. He's the member of the steering committee of the World District Interact Chair Association, and he's a special advisor on Elevate Rotary to the District 9101 governor. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And mind you that he's a leadership expert and specialist, a trainer, a facilitator, and executive director of the consulting firm BrainLink Africa. So he's here in the capacity of a Rotary and also a leadership consultant to, I wanted to say to entertain us, yes. He's a speaker. He's a speaker, so it's not just a conference. He's here to entertain us, to teach us, to train us, to speak on this very important topic, the 5 levels of leadership and the relevance of a Rotary Club development. Ladies and gentlemen, join me and join hands to welcome Mr. CP Adonis TELLA-DELIS.
Thank you, PP Mamadou Gebre. It's a pleasure to be welcomed by E-Club 9101, and all the members of the club are part of my family. Because I've been regularly invited to fellowship with this club, and I've always given a lot of support to my club, the Rotary Club of Cotonou Locomotive Ganhi. And I'm very humbled by the honor given me by the president, Seydou Nebié. But I'm further humbled because I know in the audience and in the leadership of the club, I have a GMT, John Maxwell certified coach, the consultant, that is PP Mamadou Gebre. So it's very humbling for me to be speaking on the five level of leadership, because I'm touching a very sensitive topic, very dear topic to my dear PP Mamadou Gebre. But I want to believe that we keep learning, and we keep fellowshipping, we keep building leadership continuously. And I think that one trait of leadership that is very fundamental is humility. And therefore, I know that PP Mamadou Gebre will be in attendance to be able to correct me when I'm wrong and support me when I'm right. And it's a pleasure.
How can you be wrong? And how can I pretend to correct?
The topic was chosen to make the conversation very much interesting, because at the last two meetings of the club with CP Yusuf Diarra and PP Mamadou Gebre, the president proposed that we should begin having some exercises of fellowship meeting where we have English sessions. And I think that we are operating in a global world, a very globalized environment, and we should make an effort to create, very much needed opportunities to improve in different areas. So I felt for such a maiden session that addressing a topic that is of interest to all of us as Rotarians, as professionals, as upcoming leaders and established leaders in different fields, something that has to do with leadership will be very much communicative and very interesting. Hence, the issue of the 5 levels of leadership and its impact, if I would say, on the Rotary Club's development. Let's understand one thing before even getting to the origin of the 5 level of leadership concept. Let's understand that we operate in an environment that is a Rotarian environment. We are Rotarian, and we know that the 5 cardinal values of Rotary as service, comradeship, diversity, integrity, and of course, leadership. And if you look at the action plan of Rotary 2019-2024, we are looking at leaders that come together to take action to impact communities, impact the world, and even impact themselves. So leadership has always been a transient figure, a continuous element in the engagement, the growth, the development of Rotary. And let's understand also that today we need very decent, integrity-based leaders, not transactional leaders, but transformational leaders. Hence, how do we organize our clubs to make them successful, to make them performing? And therefore, the 5 levels of leadership, a concept that's developed by one of the most acclaimed and most renowned authors on leadership, a great consultant that has dealt with different kind of organizations, from sport teams to teaching at military academies to different environments. John C. Maxwell, one of a prolific author on leadership as well. He has written the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership and many other 360-degree leaders. And amongst the books he has written, the 5 levels of leadership. It's one book that I recommend to many people who want to understand how we do away with the dichotomy that's always existed, whether leaders are born or leaders are made, whether you are born with natural attribute of leadership, or you learn through the process to become leaders. My point has always been the case, and people who agree, a lot of people agree with me, whether you are born with some leadership potential or not. Even if you are born, let's say, with leadership potential, if you don't nurture your leadership potential, you have a potential that is unaccomplished. And therefore, I would rather have someone who's born without any attribute of leadership and who do the best, give himself the best opportunities at being mentored, being coached, and learning and acquiring more understanding of what it takes to be a performing leader than someone relying on having a potential or having a natural gifting. Now, in this process, we understand as we move from the first level of leadership to the fifth level of leadership, that leadership, whether inbuilt or not, is something that you can build, learn, acclaim, understand, and transfer, and that is both applicable to the individual and the organization. In this case, the organizational focus will be on a Rotary Club. The first level of leadership is based on position, is positional leadership. And we understand, I would let you get the point between the growth of the individual leader and the growth of the Rotary Club. Now, if you look at the first level of leadership that I mentioned, that is the positional level of leadership that is based on position, because it's generally the first step in your leadership development process. Most of the time, the first time somebody has a responsibility given to him, you say, I have become a leader. I was made a leader, because he's been given his first shot at leadership. Now, that level of leadership is based on position, because people don't necessarily choose who the leader is. People just have to understand that this is a person in charge of them. The issue with that, the upside, as I said, is that you have been invited to the leadership table. You have been given the first shot at leadership. But the downside is that people focus too much on position. And you take it from the individual, who will be so much concerned about status, whether he's addressed as this title, whether he's given this power. It will apply to the Rotary Club, for instance, at excessive organizational politics. People are always intriguing. A club that is at the level 1 level of leadership out of 5 will be a club that will be so focused on organizational intrigue and politics, power play, power game. And in an environment where we claim friendship, comradeship, service, it becomes toxic. Yes, we claim leadership. We want leadership. We profess leadership. We build leadership, where we get to understand with time that true leadership is not about position. And we get to understand that real leadership actually is about impact. That's why even our action plan ends up at impacting communities, the world, and even ourselves. Therefore, if an organization has embarked on the leadership train, the first level, yes, become aware of their capabilities. They begin trying their luck at some responsibility. They are brought or invited to the leadership table. But if that individual or that club, Rotary Club or Rotary Club for that matter, or Intra Club for that matter, focuses too much on level 1, it will become toxic, because people will be most of the time fighting around positional leadership, about status, about power. Now, the move to level 2 leadership is that you understand that if you have too much to rely on the level 1, you will realize that titles are not enough. And with time, people would get fed up with you reminding them of what title you have, what position you occupy. At the end of the day, people want to see something extra. People want to see something more connected with change management, with some inspirational flow that you have to bring on board. Yes, the titles may open people's attention to you, but at the end of the day, people may get fed up with you, because they see that beyond the titles, you have nothing. Chief Emeritus, Professor, Doctor, PhD +6, and all that. Yes, it's good on the first hearing, but at the end of the day, what matters is what you deliver, what you bring on board. What do you bring to the table? Yes, forget about the title. You as an individual, naked individual, an organization, at first glance, what do we see this organization providing? That's where we need to move to level 2. Why level 2? Level 2 is a level that is concerned with or synonymous with permission. Permission, because people begin to appreciate you. You cannot lead people until you like people, and people will only allow or will only be allowed to be led by you or allow you to lead them if they appreciate you, they see something you like. So at the end of the day, the upside of that is that the environment, the workplace environment, or the club service, the service club environment, the Rotary Club, or Rotary intra-club environment becomes a pleasant place for everyone. This is the club where people will rush after work, go for a meeting. Between two board meetings, between two assignments, they will attend the club meeting because the environment is friendly, and therefore comradeship, camaraderie comes, really to materialize, because people live in a wonderful environment, acceptable environment, lively environment, friendly environment. And the individual that is operating on a level 2 level of lead on level 2 leadership, that kind of person is accepted by others. He has followers, team members who appreciate him. He builds a relationship. He creates a real environment where people really feel that they belong. The downside is that there will be so much pressure for you to build positive relationship, and people may sometimes do excessive socializing and relationship building, but they leave out something, performance, because there should be a raison d'etre for someone to be given the opportunity to lead, is to deliver. And therefore, if you remain too long on the leadership level number 2, you might be found wanting, because then everything will be based on relationships. So such a club will have wonderful parties, wonderful barbecues, wonderful outings and all that. But at the end of the day, that club may not rank very high in terms of general performance and growth, because what the focus of this understanding of the 5-level leadership is to build a system for performing individuals and organizations, including clubs. Level 3, as we move to level 3, we begin to move to the production level. The keywords of level 1 is position. The keyword of level 2 is permission, and the keyword of level 3 is production, because making things happen separates real leaders from wannabes. You really need to get to understand that your credibility gets built up as you begin to deliver. You don't talk the talk, but you walk the talk. Whatever you say, you do. Key thing here is not about do as I say and not as I do, but I say, I do, you are inspired, and you do. So at that point, you have to understand that our leadership is only built and bona fide when we begin to bring results. Now, the downside of this level is that you have a situation where the weight of leadership is heavier. The burden of leadership is felt, because such a club may perform a lot of service projects, great delivery, but let's understand that we have a cycle that the wheel keeps turning. So if you don't move to the next level and you remain at a production level or level 3 level, the club will wear out its members. Great 12 months, and then the next year, everything falls because the members are exhausted, because everything gets to be a burden on the leaders to deliver, to bring results. And therefore, because they don't have the next level attributes and they are remaining at the level 3 level, they are production oriented. So goal oriented, go getting, and therefore people begin to kind of lose some interest at some point, because it becomes too heavy, especially for leaders. Hence, let's move again to the next level. But what is important, the laws of leadership at this point is magnetism, victory, and priorities, because you let people understand that you need to give to obtain. You need to provide, motion. You need to get yourself built up to deliver and get results, because only results will speak for you. You can have all the beautiful talks as a team coach, as a team manager. If at the end of the day, there's no results, there's no performance, you'll be fired. You'll be fired, because the only thing that will put the icing on the cake is you saying, yes, this is what my achievements are. This is what my team's achievements are. Level 4 is a wonderful level, is a level where we expect everyone and every organization to reach even before level 5, which is sometimes a bit not elusive, but on a notch higher. But at least level 4 brings people development. That's the key word here, people development, because you let people grow in order to extend your own influence. And an organization that gets to level 4 begins to work based on succession planning. Level 4, because you begin to think beyond yourself. You have gotten a position, you have built good rapport and relationship with people, you have moved to producing results. Now you need to think beyond you. Let's understand that an organization leadership process, for it to be effective, needs to move from the charismatic level of leadership to the institutional or organizational level of leadership, where you need to make reference, for instance, to the famous statement by former President Barack Obama in Accra. He made a major statement when he visited Accra, I think in 2009, where he said that Africa doesn't need strong leaders. Africa needs strong institutions. Very interesting. Let's remember, we sometimes don't forget that, sometimes forget that then President of Burkina Faso, Blaise Compaoré, said that we need strong people to bring strong leaders, to bring strong institutions. Whatever the case, but the point here is you need to have sustainability built by moving from the individual perspective to the organizational perspective. If you have a great first set of leaders in a club, the charter president, the charter board, the charter members, is good. The first year, the first 2 years, yes, everything will hover around them. But at some point, for the club to live, for the organization to grow, beyond just the individual, they need to begin to set up systems. And those systems, one key attribute of building strong systems is training, continuous education, continuous coaching and mentoring. And therefore, people development is you begin to understand that the potential organization becomes greater because leaders begin to bring out leaders out of others. Good leaders make followers. Great leaders make new leaders. So the process is you do, someone follows you, that person begins to do, and you see that person to ensure that that person begins to do for another person to take up from that person. That means that you begin to transfer knowledge, transfer inspiration, transfer experience and skills. So you take someone along, let the person pass forward, and that another person follows that person to begin to ensure that the wheel of leadership turns. Now, very wonderful thing in Rotary, we have an exigency, a requirement in Rotary, that is the club leadership plan. The club leadership plan is designed to project the club over 3 to 5 years, from a leadership plan to even a strategic plan, 3-year plan to 5-year plan. Why? Because you need to grow beyond the current situation. Imagine the club within the next couple of 3 years to even 5 years. Why? Because unless the club is projected, there's no impetus, there's no incentive to function and perform consistently. And therefore, as part of that plan, you need to design what will be the classification, what will be the skills, the sectors that we need to recruit from, what should our club membership look like, and then who are the leaders and how are the leaders selected and prepared. A president nominee designates, a president nominee, a president-elect prepare the plan with the current president. Then we have a flow of leadership over the years, and beyond the individuals elected as president of the club, you have people who begin to get trained to build up the level of skills that are required for them to follow the club's journey towards performance. And it's the responsibility of current leaders, experienced leaders, not to quote unquote die with the knowledge, but transfer the knowledge. Mentorship becomes a key element here. And that's why when we look at the Rotary environment with Rotary clubs, intra clubs, 18 to 30, 35, 12 to 18, building the youth service, building the youth environment. Remember, today is Africa's Day, but it's also the month of youth service in Rotary. It's very important for me to say that the next generation of leadership comes from the younger ones. But what mentorship platform do we put in place? What transfer of skills, knowledge, inspiration, and experience we transfer to those leaders, future leaders, who are not just leaders of tomorrow, but also young leaders of today, to build them up to get to the stage of performance. And finally, when you have a club that operates on level 4, there's a balanced approach in the club. You can see that the club churns out new leadership, new vibe, new excitement and projections, and also consistency, and begins to move from individual focus to club organizational institutional focus. And finally, the fifth level of leadership is called the pinnacle. The pinnacle is the highest leadership accomplishment, which is developing leaders to level 4, and therefore you become a reference. And a person that has gotten to level 5 leadership, his name, first name and surname, becomes a brand that is associated with success. Not everyone will reach there, but even reaching level 4 is a high level of performance. But when you reach the pinnacle, you become a household name. Rotary, as an institution with 118 years of service and leadership all over the world, of course, has gotten to that status because it is on the same platform with United Nations organization and special institutions and great charities in the world, and also great leadership organizations. But individually, our clubs should be in a process of all aiming to go at least to level 4, if not level 5, where they become a reference in their community. The specialized projects that have dedicated themselves, the kind of leadership and coaching platform that I've created for youth becomes an element of bringing them to what's called the 5th level of leadership, that is a pinnacle. This, in a nutshell, has been my expose on the 5 level of leadership and their impact on the growth and development of a Rotary Club. Rotary Club, in this case, Rotary Club and Intra Club are all in the same boat, but at the same time, it can be applicable to any organization that we may be a member, a leader, a founder, or a manager of, because at the end of the day, it's about growing leaders individually from level 1 to level 5 and growing institutions, organizations from level 1 to level 5. Thank you for your kind attention.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, please let's join a hand for our brother, friend, leader, CP Adonis TELLA-DELIS.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
Wow,
and,
wow.
Yeah. Before even opening the floor, I just want to give the floor to another CP. So CPs understand each other better. Yusuf Jara to say a few words on what we've just experienced before we go for the Q&A session. CP Yusuf Jara.
I mean, it's very difficult to take the floor after this kind of big level of the conference. So I want to thank my friends. It's a huge contribution for our club. And tonight we reach at least 2 benefits. The first one is the friendship, a friend to discuss with him. And the second is the quality of his intervention. So we learn more tonight about leadership, and we also have a good lesson in English. So we Francophone generally, when we speak English, it's difficult for us to catch up what we are saying. So tonight we reach everything you told. So you say. So my English is not good. Is bad. So I rely on you to help me and everybody here in our club to improve their skills in English. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your delivery.
Thank you, CP Yusuf. Thank you so much for your kind words. You move from level 1, 2 to level 5 of English as well. So that's all. That's all.
Exactly.
We
He
keep
spoiled
learning. We keep
everything when he
improving.
said, yeah, he spoiled everything when he said his English is not good.
I
Meanwhile,
don't
I don't know.
agree. It's a process.
Yeah,
It's in the process of
exactly.
growth. It's growing. It's growing. It's not stagnating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if when in English speaking country, when someone has his level of French, I mean the way he speaks French in
Yeah.
English speaking countries, when someone speaks French at this level, he's a
Exactly.
master.
He's a master. He's a god. He's a semi-god.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. He's
yeah.
called proficiency.
So
He's proficient in English. He's proficient. That's
yeah,
what we say. Yeah.
exactly. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you, CP, and thank you, CP Yusuf. So the floor is open for questions. Please feel free and just don't actually leave any room for any doubt. If you have questions, just shoot, please, guys. Yes, Yakuba Traore.
Thank you so much, dear moderator, for giving me the floor. A round of applause to my dear mentor, Mr. CP Adonis. Wow, wow, brilliant.
Thank you.
What a great session, what a great training. As usual, I used to learn from him a lot. And really, I have learned so many things at the same time. And it's a really brilliant and relevant topic that I cannot let him go at that way without asking a few questions. And yeah, I have just 2 questions. So the first question is the following. I have noticed in my club, for example, in Mali here, at the beginning of the Rotary year, most of the guys are so motivated and to take action, all those things. But when it comes at the end of the Rotary year, you see most of them are not motivated. So as a leader, what can you do to boost them? So this is my first question. And the second one is that as a leader, sometimes you may be dangerous to people at what way? Because like a leader, sometimes you are obliged to ask, questions linking to the belief or to the habit of person. So sometimes it's not easy for them to express. Like a leader, how can you push people's, or how can you be able to address people so that they can follow you, your vision, your goals, to be able to take actions? So thank you so much, dear.
Okay, thank you, Yakuba. The first thing on the demotivation that may set in at some point in a Rotary year, it's called individual or even sometimes organizational fatigue. But the thing is, one mistake that many leaders, especially in organizations like Rotary, make is to focus too much on 1 year or even focus on the year of the president. The thing is, if you let people understand that it's not just about the 12 months that we have before us, but it's about a continuous, renewed commitment process towards delivery over a longer period. Give them a horizon that is beyond a year. That is why I think the best thing we can have is to imagine Rotary and create hope in the world, because we should keep people thinking, imagining, innovating, and giving them hope for greater things to come, so that you make a linkage between your term and the term before and the term to come. The terms to come, because you have an IPP, but you have, immediate past president, you have past president, they have a president-elect, a president nominee for a year plus 2, a president nominee designative necessary year plus 3, so that you let people see life in the organization and the growth of the organization beyond just 12 months. Because people seem sometimes too focused on the cycle of 12 months, but the 12 months give birth to another set of 12 months. And therefore, you have a leadership plan that you sell to every member so that they see that they have a part to play beyond just 12 months and give them a lot of hope. Now, when people are nearing a period of general fatigue and burnout, take them out of routine, innovate, change your club activity structure. Let people feel a good environment where they are welcome as friends, as people who live in a brotherly environment. That also is important to create an environment where people belong. Because we have joined a volunteering organization. We have not been employed in Rotary. We have joined a volunteering organization. We share friendship. We share leadership. We share comradeship. And therefore, we should have people belonging and renew their courage towards greater achievements that are not limited to 1 year. Now, the other thing, you were talking about people being scared of a leader. How does a leader communicate his vision without scaring people or making them maybe intimidated? What you should know is, as a leader, you are not a boss. You are a primus inter pares, a first among equals. Bring people to the table. Let them understand what's in it for them. As they commit, what do they get? Not necessarily in terms of monetary gain, but what development comes to them. Sell your vision by letting them buy into your vision so that it becomes a shared vision. That should be the approach. Don't speak top down, but let people be involved. You take the ultimate responsibility as the leader, but let people know and understand that they have their portions of leadership roles to play towards the general achievement of the vision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear mentor, for all those enlightenment. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's really great. Yeah, and I love the answers. That's why Napoleon used to say that a leader is the dealer in hope.
Exactly.
If you cannot sell hope, don't be a leader.
Definitely. I agree with you. You allow me to give the floor to a good elder brother to mine, the PAG Rauf Pereira, former district community service chair, Rotary District 9102, past president of Rotary Club Cotonou Palmi.
Sure.
He's a PAG, he's a good elder brother to me. Yeah, I would like him to just contribute to our discussion.
Excellent.
PAG Rauf.
Hello.
Good evening,
Dr.
PAG.
President Adonis.
Yes, sir.
How
yes,
are
sir.
you?
I'm very positive, PAG. Very positive.
Okay, it was a great pleasure to attend this meeting in English. Your English is so fluent.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can speak English like that, and
Gradually.
I understand what is leadership in our club. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, PAG. God bless you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear PAG Raul, for joining us today live from everywhere in the world, because it's Rotary Club 9101.
Exactly.
So I think, we have 2 minutes left. Mr. President, I will give you the floor to appreciate. There's a question, so let's go for this question and then a wrap up. Yes, AG and Maria Cardos.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you to the organizers. Thank you to our dear friend Rotarian Adonis. Very quickly, you spoke about the 5 levels of leadership.
Yeah,
I am thinking of a leader who finds himself in the first position.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready for that leadership position. It is positional. Because maybe the club needed to elect a president, and maybe that person was the only likely candidate, and the club insisted that we'll help you to get there. So the person is not very, very ready. So what advice would you give to somebody who finds themselves in a leadership position? How do you think they can build themselves to get, to that fifth level, which is the pinnacle? Thank you very much.
The first thing for the person is to understand that no matter his level, he always have a margin of growth. He always has a margin of growth, which means that he needs to do a self-assessment and know what has his key attributes, his strengths, his weaknesses, his opportunities, and the threats. Why? Because if he's conscious about his weaknesses, he's very likely to be humble enough to learn and get information and knowledge when he needs to get them. It's when people lack humility that they begin to be oblivious and blind to their own flaws, and therefore their path to failure is faster. First of all, he does a self-assessment. Secondly, he identifies within and outside the club who and where get information from. Today, we have My Rotary. Perfect. Design yourself a plan to build your understanding of the role. Then understand that your position as president is only the position of chief servant, chief friend of the club, not boss of the club. Reach out to people, build your team according to objectives you set, and design for you and your team to grow in knowledge, understanding of Rotary, and understanding of the dynamics of leadership. That is informing and forming yourself, informing and forming others in order to reform and transform. That is the only thing you can do to keep growing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Adrian.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. Thank you for the question, Adrian and Maria Cardos, and thank you very much for the brilliant answer. And that's why John Maxwell says, when you were speaking, it reminded me of what John Maxwell used to say. It's a finish, there's no finish line.
Exactly.
There's no finish line. It's a process, and it's been the process. As far as you in this blue planet, you in it forever. Yeah, so thank you very much once again, CP Adonis. It was really brilliant, thought-provoking, and high standard. So, Mr. President, it's yours to congratulate once again and give a word of appreciation to our dear friend and CP Adonis before we adjourn this meeting. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I hope you are not in the air; you are still with us.
I'm absolutely on the ground and I actually park around by the roadside to be able to get this knowledge sucked in before I proceed on my driving home. That being said, thank you, everyone. Thank you to you, first of all, for accepting to be part. And by me saying that is relating a little bit to what Maria was asking as a ADJ and Maria was asking as a question. This is how it goes. You'll never be ready, ma'am. You will never be ready. And they'll always promise you they will help you. But remember, the only helper you will have is yourself and your whole relationship that you will have as a vocation that you have dedicated to the club or to the Rotary in general. When you took by accepting to be a member for Rotary Club, that's the only thing I can live with you. But then coming back to our CP of the day, there's nothing else I could add as a word other than a big round of applause to him to keep saying, thank you for babysitting and thank you for coaching. Thank you for leading us. At some point, I know you're going to let us fly by ourselves because the training is always you give the way and then at some point you want to see us do the same thing. Exactly. Thanks for that kind of leadership and thanks for the MC, the big guy of the day, the guy that has been pushing me underground behind the curtain no one has ever seen. I've been saying again, is our brother Mamadou Gebre and also coming to our CP president, Yusuf Jara. Thanks, guys. And that being said, officially, we are done for the meeting, but the floor is still open for anybody to fellowship. Any question we'll be able to help out. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, President.